Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't already know, my name's Joe, and this channel is used primarily for talking about ADHD, but also go on to a load of other things like entrepreneurial stuff, fitness related issues, or my quests really in the fitness realm. But today we're going to be talking about my 1 month review with my private doctor. Now, as a bit of a backstory, I paid privately to get my ADHD diagnosis, and I've been taking ADHD meds for about 6 weeks now, just a bit over. Now, the process for your 1 month review is you get a questionnaire, and the questionnaire asks you health related subjects like blood pressure, heart rate, and then the second part is more like have you had greater focus, have you felt you're more attentive, just like normal stuff you'd associate with ADHD. And I don't know whether it's because I'm not particularly good at filling out forms or what, but I rushed through this form and I sent it back to my doctor. And when I got on the call with my doctor, his instant reaction was, wow, you've got a lot more from the medication than I actually thought. And that was after just speaking to him for the first 2 or 3 minutes. And he said, because he'd read my questionnaire and I hadn't really answered the questions very well and very much detail, it sounded like I was very underwhelmed with the medication, that he actually thought that he was going to have to increase my meds when we had that review. So I spoke to him a little bit, and to be honest, I wasn't feeling like I was getting loads out of the medication. Now, this is strange because I hear so many people talking about the ADHD medication and how they've had like a night and day change, and it was such a big difference to them when they started taking the medication. And it's really not been that way for me. But I think, I don't quote me on this, never asked anyone, but I think those changes that happen in your personality and the way you think and the way you act, they sort of come over time. And the beauty of ADHD medication, what I found, is it's not a night and day difference. So it doesn't change you. It's not making you into something you wasn't before. It's just enhancing what you've already got. And that's actually really good. And that's something I was really skeptical about before I started taking the medication. And, it's a good thing, isn't it? Because you don't want to not be you. Well, I definitely didn't want that. So, yeah, I think when we first got on the call, me and the doctor, we started talking about the normal health-related stuff, the same as the questionnaire, blood pressure, heart rate, and he was happy with that. That was all like pretty much exactly where it should be. And then he started talking about the positives I'd noticed, and I definitely noticed the fact that my attention was greater. Now, the best example I can give you is at work. I have a lot of different things going on. I'll have work on my laptop, I'll get phone calls here, I've got different computer screens I have to look at in different corners of the room, and my job's a bit all over the place. So it's very easy for me to chop between all the different tasks and not really get anything done. And I do often do that. Well, I used to often do that. Now, what I was saying about it not being a night and day difference is it's almost like my brain still wants to do that, but now I've got the ability to say, no, just focus on that one. Just focus on that task, then go back to that one. And it sometimes is the case where I'm doing this task and then my brain wants to do this one, and I'll go over there a little bit, but then it pulls me straight back into this one. So it really does give you the ability to sort of control your own attention a lot more. It's also a massively intense drug if you want to focus on something, and something that we're really good at is hyperfocus. And if you're really interested in something, you really want to put loads of work in, wow, you can put in a shift. And so you probably heard me speak about my e-commerce businesses. And just as a quick story, I've got 2 e-commerce businesses. One that makes money, but I'm not that interested in it. And I've got another that's not really ever made money, but I'm really interested in it. And I just had this new brainwave for the one that I'm really interested in. And I spent 13 hours one day building a website. I did not want to get up. I was so dialed into it. Now, there is some of that before, to be honest. I was pretty much the same before the medication, but this was a little bit more, I would say, and definitely a lot more focused. I'd actually being a lot more productive within that. So the focus part was really good. The second part, he asked me about my partner. What would my partner say? And I thought, interesting you've asked that, because I've never really had a sit down like talk. I mean, we spoke about it, but never really like in a formal manner almost. So my partner was downstairs at the time, so I ran downstairs, and this is all with the agreement with the doctor, by the way. So I actually said to him, "Do you want me to go and ask her now?" And he said, "Yeah." So he stayed on the video call. I went downstairs, asked her, and she said, "I've noticed a big difference. You've been more empathetic. We've had some those like." They're not quite arguments, but they could go either way. They could it could be a conversation that turns into a bit of an argument or not. We've had quite a few of those, and they haven't. And I mean, I'm not solely to blame for those situations, but I think the way I was dealing with those situations is a lot better. And the other big thing for me is my social cues. So I would say something that I dislike the most about ADHD is when my social cues, I don't know when to pick up to like jump into a conversation, or well, I suppose it is really that, it's like it's either I was going to say it's either starting the conversation. It's not starting the conversation. It's like you end up butting into people's conversation sometimes, and that sounds really bad when we say it. And it's not because we're selfish. It's because we're so infused in what they want to say that we want to add to it. You get so like involved in what they're saying almost that you have to tell them something about it. And yeah, I felt like my brain's just been like a lot calmer in those sort of situations, and that's something that just follows through to the rest of it. If you think about the sort of heated conversations with my partner, which they're not like really heated, but they're just everyday conversations, they've been a lot calmer. I'm calmer at work because I'm not jumping around all over the place. I'm calmer in like social situations 'cause I'm just like a bit more chilled out. So that was really good. One other thing we spoke about at the end was my metabolism. Now, I'm someone that's really on it with like I know exactly how many calories I eat every day. I know what my weight is. I weigh myself pretty much every morning. And when I started taking the medication, I was trying to put on weight. I was trying to gain some muscle, and I was actively eating like 3,200, 3,400 calories. And I noticed at that my weight wasn't going up, and prior to taking medication, my weight would have been steadily climbing at that. And even so, I put my calories all the way up to 4,000. I was eating 4,000 calories every day, and my weight was just not going up. It was just staying still, which is wild for me. I'm normally someone that doesn't have to eat too much to put weight on, but I normally have to eat real like low calories to lose weight. And the same's being said now. So I'm going to Ibiza in 2 and a bit weeks, and I'm trying to like lose a bit of fat for that. And just to give you an example, I went to Ibiza in June, the end of June. So I did like a six. No, I did. How long did I diet for? I dieted for 12 weeks, and by the end of it, I was eating 1,800 calories for a few weeks. Before that, I was eating about 2,000 calories a day, and I was doing 30 minutes worth of cardio pretty much every day, and the weight was then coming off. But now I'm eating 2,200 calories, and I'm not doing any cardio, and the weight's coming down much faster than it was last time. So my body's clearly in this state of like burning through like energy and like food. Now, the doctor got a little bit concerned when I started talking about that, and the reason being is because that can be an indication you've got an issue with your thyroid. Now, I'm not a doctor, I don't know loads about the thyroid whatsoever, but he then asked me a few questions. He said, "Have you been sweating a lot?" Which you'll know if you watch my previous videos. I've been sweating quite a bit, a lot more than normal, which results in me having to shower a lot more because I don't want to be that smelly guy in the gym. No one wants to be that person that stinks in the gym today. But that's an indicator that your metabolism's speeded up, sped up. You know what I mean? And also your fingernails. My fingernails have been growing at a crazy rate, like noticeably different, like noticeably much faster than they used to. And that's a good indicator that it's more of a metabolism thing. But yeah, I think it was really good to have that chat with a doctor, and like credit to him because I actually went in there with I wouldn't say a negative like connotation about the medication, but I was almost sort of like I couldn't really see there was a great deal of difference, and it's making me a bit think like, is it really worth it? And the reason why I was thinking that is because, for those of you who don't know, when you go private, it costs you a fortune. It was like 500 quid to get diagnosed, and then every month until you get signed off to your GP is £380. That's like 160 quid for the meds, and then £220 for the doctor's consultation, which is crazy. So yeah, I went in there with like a bit of a negative connotation, like weighing up the sort of cost of it versus the benefits. And I was sort of like thinking, I don't really think this is worth it. But when I left that call, like I think even just a part of like having a better relationship with my partner, and like I said, this isn't a massive difference. This is like a 5% difference, but I'm starting to be of the thought where this is going to be one of the things over time where I can look back and say, wow, that has changed me. Like in 6 months' time, I think that's really improved my life in those aspects. But it's not like a just click your fingers and you've changed all of those all of a sudden. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. But I think my battery's going to run out, my SD card's going to fill up or something, my camera's flashing at me. So I'm going to cut this one just there. I think I've spoken enough. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.